there isn't some kind of competition, then you're not trying.
I don't want them competing with each other from a place of wanting bad for the other person.
But I want to do the best, and everybody better be doing their best.
I'm watching, and then you're like, I'm doing better than them. It's like that with everything. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, it's kind of like what we always talk about. Make the first thing the first thing. And what is the first thing? It's about loving one another well. Welcome to the Coffee Snob podcast. Me and Chelsea were just talking about competition and whether it's a good thing or a bad thing in your coffee shop or in your business or even in your mind as a business owner. Like, how does competition fall as far as like, is it an asset or is it something that works against you?
Yeah. Well, Lance and I are both extremely competitive people. So like, even like when we play games and board games, card games, we are both really competitive. But I think there was a time in my life that I feel like God kind of just delivered me of some competitive tendencies, because I'm like trying to compete with people I love, and it wasn't good, you know? So
I don't know.
I don't know. That's kind of a tough one. I have my own thoughts on competition because I got healed, and now I can lose graciously to Lance.
But I also think
he still struggles.
Competition is what drives you, you know, or it can be what drives you, like getting better at what you do, and then having that, almost like that mile marker that says like, okay, am I good at this? How do I compare myself to other people? Because like that's what makes you good at something or not, right? Is if you're better than the dude across from you. I mean, but even now, like with the internet, I mean, you're looking at like, you can see like, say like some dude doing latte art, and you can say, he's really good at latte art because I can't do that, you know? Yeah. I suck compared to him, you know? Or you can go across the street to a coffee shop and say, wow, their espresso is better than ours. They're really good at what they do, you know? And then at that point, am I good? That's like what I'm asking myself, like, am I any good? Because they're way better. So it means that I could be better. I could be as good as them, or I can be better than them. You get what I'm saying?
I get it. I mean, I think that maybe it has a place in the marketplace, but I'm not sure what that place is, because I kind of tend to think of things like a woman, go figure, and in the context of like relationships, I'm always thinking relationally. And so like, even for my kids, do I want them to compete against one another? No, I don't. I want them to be unique and secure in their uniqueness and good, and getting better at things that they're passionate about, but not comparing to their sister or to their brother, you know? So I'm not sure. I'm not sure that it's good when it trickles down to people. Like, we don't want our baristas competing with one another.
But we do at the same time. Like, okay, so I think this is where we're going with this is, I don't want them competing with each other from a place of wanting bad for the other person. Like, I think there's a place for them to want to be the best, to want to be the top dog, as far as I can make drinks better than anybody in this place, and still have motivation in them to say, I want to bring other people along with me. And I think that's like the line, because I don't know, like that's where love comes into it, where like I actually care about someone else. I think if you're just using someone as a stepping stone, or another rung on the ladder to get yourself up higher in this competition, then you've really lost something.
I know, this is kind of deep philosophical.
Competition.
This is a philosophical discussion.
What have you lost?
So like if like sometimes we'll get like a big bucket of peas that like Lance's mom grew in the garden or something, and we'll sit together and we'll visit and we'll shell them. And inside, Lance is like, my pile's bigger than hers, and it needs to stay bigger than hers.
Well, yeah, any guy, if you're a guy, you know where I'm coming from. You're sitting there next, it don't matter what you're doing. You could be like counting whatever, you know, you could be counting pennies, right? And like, if somebody else is counting faster than you, you're like, they're counting faster than me. Like I'm watching, and then you're like, I'm doing better than them. It's like that with everything. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, you've got to kind of outdo the guy next to you. I don't know what it is, but that's what drove me a lot of the times with this coffee. One was just straight. It was just super interesting to me, and I loved it. And then because I loved it, I realized, wow, like this is something that I could potentially get really good at, and nobody else really cares about. So it's like, I'm going down this rabbit hole, you know, of this coffee, you know, this seeing how it's made and how it's roasted and how it's grown. And I don't know. I don't know if competition drove me that much, but it had something to do with it. It had a part to play.
Well, I just feel like that sometimes within like the whole thought of being competitive, sometimes people will do that with their stores, with their prices. Oh, well, I want to be competitive, you know, and they'll try to see what everybody else is charging. And it's like, well, that's not what you should charge. You shouldn't charge what everybody else is charging. You should charge what you can charge to make money, to pay your labor, and to cover your costs. You know, like, so sometimes that gets in the way, and people start, losing money, right? Because they're trying to get to these prices when these big chains are getting huge bulk discounts, and what the product you're putting out, hopefully, if you're doing a good job and you're a small shop, it should be worth more, have more value, you know? So sometimes I see people try to get real competitive when it's not actually financially smart or feasible for them in a little shop.
Yeah. Well, I think something a business guy in town said, who owns a lot of restaurants, to me a long time ago. So his grandson and my son were in the same league together in baseball. So he's sitting, you know, in the stands watching his grandson play. And I'm like, I'm gonna go talk to this guy, because like I respect him. And if you're from the Stephenville area, like, you know his name. And so I just went and sat next to him. I'm talking to him, and he's asking me about my shop and stuff like that. And I'm asking him about his and how things are going. And
this guy actually gave Lance his first chance when he was roasting coffee.
He did.
And he carried Lance's roasted beans. It was called Lanchetti's coffee roasting. Yeah. And
so my father-in-law called me
Lanchetti. It's so cute. Anyway,
we went with it.
So he carried your beans in his shop. I mean, he didn't even have a coffee shop or a coffee. He didn't have really anything to do with coffee, but he carried Lance's beans.
When I started roasting coffee,
so anyway,
he carried my bags of coffee in his shop, which was super cool. I mean, it was an honor to be there. So he told me, he sat me down. And I just asked him straight up, like, if there's a few things that you could give me tips about, like, what would they be moving forward? And one of the things that he said was, don't look at the competition's prices. Don't even look at their stuff. You charge what you have to charge, and that's it. You charge whatever you have to charge. Don't try to go crazy and look at your competition and be in this price war with them. because you could get yourself in trouble. He said, when I'm making my prices on my food, I do straight percentages. That's it. I just do the math, and whatever the math spits out is what I put on the paper. And that's what I've done. And I think that's a very fair way to do it, to yourself and to your customer too.
Yeah. And I think too, also, like, when we've, in Lingleville, we are the only business in town. But when we've gone into other towns, like, we really want to be, so like Blackjack's in Dublin, we don't see the other businesses there as like our competition.
Yeah.
We're not competing with them for customers. Like, we want to be complimentary to them, so there's like a little gift shop across the street and like a clothing thing kind of a couple doors down, and antique shop and some other things. And yeah, they're a different like kind of, a different type of business, but also like we want our customers to go over there. We're not competing. It's not like there's only so many customers and there's only so much money in the town, and if they spend money there, they're not going to spend money with us. So we're not competing in that way either.
I think you're really getting into something, because and I think this is really kind of what sums it up for me, is competition is dangerous when it's based out of fear of loss.
Or like an insecurity, which
of
is
insecurity,
fear.
Insecurity.
Right.
But when it's based on security for everyone, and knowing that there's not a scarcity out there that's going to come get you if you're not super competitive and staying at the top of the food chain, you can really be competitive with a lot of freedom and still have peace, instead of like being competitive out of this anxiety that you have. I just think that's where people live a lot of times. And then when the push comes to shove, and they do get shoved so hard that they're not the cutting edge anymore, that they're not the top dog, that it just crushes them.
Right.
And then they're like scrambling so fast to get back up to the top that a lot of times they make a lot of mistakes and a lot of bad life choices when they're getting there. I think the scarcity mindset is what drives people to bad competition. And it's funny that you bring that up, because even the thought of doing things in even a bigger city or anything like that, like scarcity never even crosses my mind going there. Even if there were 2 coffee shops across the street, like I guess I'm secure in what I do, for one. I know I'm doing the best that I can.
Right.
And I know that there's enough to go around for everybody. And I guess my security isn't in what I can do, but it's definitely in what the Lord wants for me. And if that's for my shop to shut down and for me to lose everything, then that's what I'm secure in. Like, that's what I'm cool with. I don't know. It's just like, I don't.
Well, I think
I know it sounds crazy.
I think that, really with our employees, we have not fostered a real competitive atmosphere. We don't do that. We want them to get better on their own, and they can look up to these baristas that have been, really honing their craft. And I hope that there's something to be desired there for the people coming up. But it's also okay that if you're in your first month on the job, to understand, like, I'm gonna get better. I'm not number one in this shop. I'm not the best barista, but I want to get better. And I'm okay that with, allowing my capacity to expand, and the time and the process that is involved. Sometimes when we get real competitive with people, we don't see the long process, the hard work. We just want to instantly compare ourselves to them.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's healthy. And I think that the baristas in our shop that are really good love and want to bring the others up.
Yeah. I think the competitiveness that we've fostered in our coffee shop is really based on on being a servant. So it's based on servanthood. And
Yeah.
it's like, can we outdo one another in being awesome to one another and being awesome to our customers? So, and that's the things that I reward. Just because somebody's an amazing barista, you know, I see that, but they don't get a whole lot of reward from me. They don't get a raise. They don't get a special apron or like a pin or anything that says like, I'm the top dog, because in my book, that doesn't make you the top dog. What makes you the top dog is, sure, you have those skills, but do you love and serve others in front of yourself? And I would say that's what makes someone the top dog in my shop. I sat down with someone the other day for a review. And so I give my baristas reviews from time to time. I just kind of show up in the shop and I'm like, hey, what's up? And if it's slow, you know, I sit them down and I'm like, hey, I just wanted to kind of give you just some feedback on what things I've been seeing. So some of it might be good, some of it might be bad, but I always try to start with something really good that they've done, give them the bad, and then and the bad is more like, hey, these are areas that you can improve. So this is a good thing, you know. It's a good thing that I'm bringing this to you. It's a good thing because now it's out in the open. You can work on it, and I want you to go for it. And then I always give them something good again. But with this kid, it's just like I didn't have anything bad to say. I was just like, here's my review to you. And I just looked at him and I said, what do you want? What do you want?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want from me? What can I do for you? Because you do everything that you're asked. You do things that you're not asked. And you are first in line to do the hard stuff. And you take care of my customers. You take care of my employees. Like, you just love people really well. Like, what is it that I can give to you to make your experience here better, to make you love what you do? Yeah, and so I think that was the biggest review, the biggest compliment that I could give him. Not just like, hey, you're doing great, but like me even opening up and saying, within reason, like, what do you want? Because I don't want to lose you. I want you to know how much I appreciate you. And so, yeah, I just feel like that right there, and he's an awesome barista. Like, he can make really good drinks, and he's getting the latte art down, and he's fairly new, you know? And so, yeah, it's been good watching him grow.
So what would you say is your final verdict? Competition, good or bad?
I would say it's good in the circumstances that you're not competitive out of fear of loss. And I know that's weird, like being competitive, not worrying about losing.
I feel like it's
I don't know.
Yeah, I would say,
I feel like I just contradicted myself.
Yeah, maybe. I think really, so for me, like, because I'm not always in the store, like I don't work here. You know, I have a life and I have children and I'm involved like with our church and friends. And I remember a time when truly I was like made aware of like where I was being competitive. And I was really comparing myself. What it was rooted in is I was comparing myself to others and trying to convince myself that I was better, that I was whatever it was. I mean, silly stuff, that I was smarter, that I was more capable, that I was better dressed, that I, like just dumb stuff.
Yeah, well, that's what social media gets us.
Well, it's that comparison, but it's in competition, there is some kind of comparison that you're making, but some people don't when they're faced with that comparison, some people are like, they can either, feel ashamed or say, yeah, no, I'm losing on this. I'm not as good as so-and-so. But then there's others like me that are ambitious and driven, and it's like, I'm gonna be the best, and it's like, why am I even comparing? I'm just unique. I'm living my own life. I don't need to be like so-and-so. I don't need to be better than so-and-so. Like, I just need to be me.
Yeah.
And so I would say that, I wouldn't call it competition if comparison wasn't involved and fear of loss wasn't involved. I think the motivation to work hard and make yourself better isn't necessarily competition. But also, I'm a woman, and when we shell peas, I don't care.
I'm gonna race you.
But the peas won't get shelled as fast. They won't get shelled as fast if you're not racing and your pilots are bigger. So I was like, maybe I can bank on this competitive thing in you,
Yeah.
But so it's okay. I guess it's okay to be aggressive, to be hardworking, and to want to better yourself. But we don't want to do that from a place of fear, from a place of comparison, from a place of shame, or from a place of pride, right?
Yeah.
It needs to be humility and service
that
drives us.
This is what's coming to my mind, because if we're talking about humility, we're talking about service, we're talking about not operating in fear. And I'm just thinking okay, what's the opposite of fear, right? What's the other side? And the opposite of fear is just love.
Love.
And I just think I just think of that Bible verse that says, you can do all the great things, and if you don't have love, then you're just noise.
Right.
You're just making noise. You're just a waste. What you're doing is just getting in the way. Right. And I just feel like there is a place to be competitive and still love people well, to celebrate other people's victories, to celebrate other people getting better at what they do. I get so giddy and joyful whenever one of my baristas does something better than me. Or if a customer comes in and says, hey, that drink that so-and-so made, I'll just tell you, it's better than yours, man. Or they'll tell one of the baristas that, man, that's better than when Lance made it. And then they'll come tell me, they'll rub my nose in it. And I'm like, hey, man, that's cool. It means I'm celebrating them because I'm bringing them along for the journey. And I think that's great. And then not only that, but I'm after them too. I'm seeing what they're doing. I'm asking them and I'm learning from them, because I'm not coming from a place of pride. I'm coming from a place of, I truly want to get better, not just to be the best.
Right.
But because I love being good at it. I love understanding it. I love being able to give that customer the best cup of coffee they ever had. Yeah. And I love teaching others. Yeah. And so I try to bring them into that. And I really sincerely believe that's coming from a place of genuine love for someone else. And there is no real competitiveness in that, but we're all still wanting to be the best, and when we're taking pride in that. So I don't know, that's just that weird place that I'm talking about.
When I play sports or we play games, if somebody's not trying or messing around, I'm like, dude, this is a game.
Yeah.
If we lose, we lose. But I want to do the best, and everybody better be doing their best. So I guess really that's where I'm really competitive too, because I don't want to throw the game.
Because with a game, which life is just really a game. A game is just
so deep.
Okay, a game is just a simulation of life, right? It's a simulation of something else, and that's why we like to play them. But it doesn't work if someone's not being competitive. Like if someone's not actually trying to win, then the whole game breaks down and it's not fun for anybody.
If you're not trying to win.
Right. And so
then it's dumb.
And so really like there is this place where like I'm playing a game with my kids. I'm trying to win. But at the same time, like I want them to win, but I don't want to lose. But I want them to win. And when they do win, I celebrate.
Yeah.
I celebrate them winning.
I honestly do not throw games so our kids can win.
Like we're gonna, if we smoke them at a game, like they get smoked.
I don't like just pulverize them.
We give them a chance, okay?
I know. But really, like my 6-year-old can truly beat me in memory match. And
he is a freak at memory match.
I need more coffee or something.
And then my 11-year-old could smoke us at canasta.
Oh yeah.
Like
she's
smoked us last night.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
No, what's really fun is playing poker with them too. Yeah. We just don't, we don't throw games.
My kids love Texas Hold'em.
Yeah.
And I'm learning.
Maybe we shouldn't say that.
I'm teaching them how to like read tales and stuff like that. They're loving it. I love it.
It's a little Friday family night fun.
Yeah, it is fun. It's fun. Our kids are great. We love our kids so much.
So yeah, I guess there is a place for competition, because sometimes if there isn't some kind of competition, then you're not trying.
Yeah.
Right? We don't want to eliminate trying. We want trying. We want to win at life, all of life, in business, in relationships. But I think winning looks like loving, trying our best, and not comparing ourselves to others from a place of insecurity, even in the workplace. If you're having trouble in your workplace and you're feeling like you're competing, or maybe you're having family relationships, and you're feeling like you're competing with them, like, take a sec and say, where's this coming from? What am I doing? And because I do think that when there's just that scarcity mindset, it doesn't just happen with businesses and with money. It happens with people and with honor and with all kinds of things. There's enough honor for everybody in the room. There's enough praise for everybody in the room to get their time in the spotlight,
Yeah.
And so I think it's a really good thing to remember. This was fun, philosophical, deep dive.
Competition amongst baristas. Who knew?
Who knew?
Just deep. Yeah. But and it's kind of like what we always talk about. Make the first thing the first thing. And what is the first thing? It's about loving one another well. And when I think you can really, you can steward this atmosphere in your workplace, in your coffee shop, in your family, and whatever it is. You can steward an atmosphere of putting other people before yourself and still being really good at what you do.
Right.
And then you could also steward something that's just kind of nasty, because it's about using the other person to get ahead.
It happens a lot.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that have come out of work situations and it's an awful place to work. It's what they'll say. It was hell, and why?
Yeah. So, yeah. Hey, thanks for joining us today. And I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I hope you walked away with something today, whether it's something to implement in your workplace, something to implement in your family, something to implement in your cafe, or even just your own personal journey with coffee, or your personal journey with just life and other people, just to love people well. And so thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Coffee Snob.